guys, another chat today. So this has been coming up quite a lot, and it's something that we hear a lot when we're setting goals, and especially when it comes to fitness and life and things like that. And it's kind of a big lie, and I want to kind of clear things up for you because this is what derails people the most, and they beat themselves up a lot about it. And the lie is that, all you need is willpower, motivation, and discipline to achieve your goals. You hear a lot when you get quit smoking, willpower required and things like that. It's a bit of a con. Not because you don't need these things. You do need these things, of course. But they're not a constant in anybody's life. Like, I don't know anybody, even at the highest level, that will tell you that they felt motivated, they had discipline, and their willpower was faultless 100% of the time they're doing anything. It's statistically and physically impossible. You are never 100% on point at all times. Unless you live in a bubble where everything is perfectly equated for you, especially for us people, us mere mortals, it's not happening. So, how do you even get around any of this stuff? Well, the key is, and you hear it a lot, and I don't think people understand why it's so important a lot of the time. And I think this is the problem why people get really pissed off with the term like consistency. And people do, they really do get wound up when you say you just need consistency. Because what does it even mean? Because how do you be consistent? First of all, if you have no idea what you have to be consistent at. And two, if your motivation and your willpower have gone to shit, then, where's this? What do you consistently do? And it sounds really benign, but it's something. Doing something every day is better than doing something really well and relying on discipline and motivation until it falls away and then doing nothing. So, going to the gym when you have discipline and motivation is great. But what happens when you don't have discipline? What happens if it's absolutely blowing a hoonie outside? It's freezing cold. Your car's frosted over. Now all of a sudden you don't have the time that you were going to put in because this other worldly force has got in the way. Is your motivation going to be there? Probably not. Not after you spent 10 minutes scraping your car off and warming it up. You're freezing cold and you think, oh, that's not 10 minutes out of my workout time. The motivation and discipline isn't going to be there. But if you can get into the habit of consistently turning up and doing something, we're actually going to start seeing changes. And the problem is as well, consistency doesn't sound as appealing in a short-term goal, right? Motivation and willpower are great over short-term. You can be motivated and have discipline and willpower for a good 12 weeks if you're really lucky. For most people, I find it's usually about 8. But then after that, it's going to fall away. If you're in a deficit, after 4 weeks, you'd chew your own arm off for something tastier than the things you've been eating. And it's not because you're not eating good food. I mean, it might be, you're not sure how to prep and stuff. But you feel hungry. And that's a test. One of the biggest tests. Hunger and thirst are one of the biggest tests that humans go against because you're programmed not to want to be hungry or thirsty. Your survival instincts are like, yo, dude, we've got to get something in us. So, you've been disciplined for 4 weeks, and then in come week 5, all of a sudden your friend comes down that you haven't seen in a while and says, oh, should we go out for a couple of drinks and a takeaway? You're not going to say no, are you? I mean, you might do, but 9 times out of 10 at that point, you're going to think, yeah, I'm on it. And you might have just one great night out with your mate, but a really bad day diet-wise. Your motivation wasn't there. Your discipline definitely wasn't. So how do you get around it? Well, if you go back to a consistency point and go, well, tomorrow I'm just going to carry on where I was, consistency trumps everything. It really does. And the best thing about consistency is it doesn't have to be a lot. If you consistently walk where you could drive, if you consistently take the stairs where you could take the lift or the elevator, if you consistently try and make the right choices with your food and your liquid intakes, you're going to get where you need to be, because consistency can last forever. Consistency will last you for a year. In fact, most of the time, that's why most programs are designed over a 12-week period, because they can make the most out of your discipline and willpower, because afterwards, it's probably going to wane. Most of my clients don't tend to work on those kind of timescales because we look at the bigger picture and we try and breed in those consistent habits that allow you to have a lot more wiggle room. Now, obviously, with my competitive clients, it is different because in the nice possible way, discipline and willpower, I don't care about discipline and willpower because there's going to be days where you feel like crap, you turn up, you do the job because I've said so, because we have a bigger task. And that's where having a trainer kind of... trainers act as the motivators and discipline makers when you don't have any. It's as simple as that. That's what we're pretty much there to do and hold you accountable. All you have to do is consistently turn up because we take the legwork out of it for you. But that's why some people hire trainers 4 times a week. Some people hire trainers once a week because they know they can consistently keep up those habits. They might have a little bit more discipline now, but it all runs out. It's kind of what I'm getting to. Like, you're sold all the time that, you know, it's the most disciplined person that wins. It's the person with the most motivation is the best person in the room. They're just consistent. They just kept doing things when they really didn't want to do it. And then after a while, because it becomes automatic, you don't have to think about it so much. So don't think that because you don't have discipline, you don't have willpower, you don't have patience, you don't have the motivation to do things right now, that you're doomed to failure. What you can do is set consistent actions in place that are going to get the ball rolling. Because if they're consistent, they become habitual. And when they become habitual, you don't think about them. You know, making sure that you consistently drink 2 litres of water a day. Once you've done that for a little while, it becomes a habit. You don't have to think about it anymore. Making sure that you consistently walk where you can. Go out on your lunch break and have a walk. Little habitual consistencies are what actually make up most of your successful journeys. In business, consistently sending 20 emails a day, or making 20 phone calls, or talking to 20 of your colleagues to make sure that everything's okay. Once you get these habits in, that's where the success comes from. But you're not told that. You are to a small degree, but it's not. Consistency isn't sexy, and that's the biggest problem. You're not sold the consistency until later on down the line. Now, when you move up a couple of grades and you start talking to people on a peer-to-peer, face-to-face level, they'll tell you it's just digging deep and being consistent. But it doesn't sell books. It doesn't sell, you know, all these things. It's like, it really does at the moment from an advertising point of view, because it has to catch your eye. It's all about willpower, motivation, discipline, you know, and if you're a human being, they're just not constant. So you ride that wave until it crashes. It's kind of like, well, what happens when the wave crashes? Where do you go from there? And if you've got consistent habits in place, you'll know exactly where you can fall into and keep it going. As always, any questions? Happy to talk. If you really feel that you're struggling on any of those points and you have no idea where to start on a consistency point of view, like what things you should be doing every day, get hold of me and we can have a chat. Leave a comment, drop me a message, and we'll hash some ideas out and see where we can go. Speak soon, guys.